Namaste, this is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today's the 31st of January, 2014. Following is the Vedic Astrology reading for Amanda Knox, based on the 9th of July, 1987, at 2:47 a.m. in Seattle, Washington. Now, using Vedic astrology from India and the sidereal zodiac, and using systems approach to interpreting horoscopes, we find that in the first house, the second sign was rising. This is Taurus rising sign, with Gemini in the second house, with Venus, Mercury, and Sun in the second house. In the third house of Cancer, we find Mars. In the fourth house, we find Leo. Fifth house, Virgo, and Ketu, the southern node of the moon. In the sixth house, we have Libra. In the seventh house, we have Scorpio with Saturn and Moon. In the eighth house, we have the ninth sign, Sagittarius. In the ninth house, we have the 10th sign, Capricorn. In the 10th house, we have the 11th sign of Aquarius. In the 11th house, we have the 12th sign of Pisces with Rahu, the northern node of the moon. And in the 12th house, we have Jupiter in the sign of Aries. So Taurus is very earthy, practical, self-made, ambitious. Amanda has Venus, which is beauty and melodic voice in the second house of speech and family life, with Mercury ruling the house of higher education, in the house of wealth and status, and Sun ruling the fourth house of parents and property in the second house. Mars in the third house can make somebody very courageous, very direct. Ketu can give spirituality to the mind in the fifth house. Saturn and Moon. Saturn rules the 10th house of career. It's in the 7th house of relationships and also foreign lands. And Moon ruling the third house of self-initiatives in the house of partnerships. Rahu in the 11th house can give friends from a foreign land. And Jupiter in the 12th house can connect the 8th house with the 12th house. 8th house is actually accidents and death-like experiences, and it's in the 12th house of foreign lands. Now, a couple of major issues here. Mars rules his 12th house of foreign lands. It's over in the third house of self-initiatives, but it is in Cancer, which is its debilitation sign. So I would have told this client that living abroad is not favorable because the 12th ruler is debilitated. And this Rahu over here at 12 degrees aspects 5 houses away, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 degrees is close to 8 degrees, so it does afflict Mars, and that causes some unexpected calamity connected with the foreign land. Also, her own self-initiatives are ruled by the Moon, which is in old age 28 degrees, and in Scorpio, which is its debilitation sign. So this is not ideal for her emotional state either. Now, we do say that for the Taurus rising sign, we have to be careful because the 6th ruler, Venus ruling Libra, the 8th ruler, Jupiter ruling Sagittarius, and the 12th ruler, Mars ruling Aries, can cause adverse effects. So we have to see how they're positioned. Now, any planet close to 15 degrees, close to the rising sign degree, has a greater impact. So Venus is about 10 degrees. It's far enough away that it's not having some major impact here. Jupiter at 3 degrees is not close to the rising sign, not causing any trouble. And Mars ruling the 12th house is not close to the rising sign degree. So they're benign. They're not causing any damage in the natal chart. Venus is 5 degrees from Mercury, so that's not a major problem. And it's 12 degrees from the Sun. Jupiter aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away, nothing there. Mars aspects 4, 7, 8 houses away, nothing there. But here's the real trouble in the chart. Rahu and Ketu at 12 degrees are close to 15 degrees. So that means they are afflicting the houses they occupy in aspect. So Rahu is afflicting the house of friendships, the house of self-efforts, the house of children and mind, and the house of marriage, relationships, partnerships, joint ventures, and comforts living abroad. So it brings some unexpected calamity abroad. And Ketu is afflicting the 5th house of mind, 9th house of long-distance journeys, and this is also the house of dharma and religion and morality. And Ketu is afflicting the house of friendships. And Ketu also afflicts the 1st house. This brings some serious sanchita karma from some previous lifetime. She should never wear a diamond, yellow sapphire, or a red coral. She should wear the pearl for the moon, ruby for the sun, emerald for the Mercury, and blue sapphire for the Saturn. Let's look at some of the timing of events. As you know, she's an American woman. She was convicted of homicide by an Italian court for the murder and sexual assault of her roommate. This happened in November 1st, 2007. She spent 4 years in prison. Her murder conviction was overturned in October 2011, but then they overturned her acquittal in March 2013. They started a trial on September 30th, 2013, and now just yesterday she lost her appeal, and she has now been sentenced to 28 years in prison. So let's look at some of these dates. November 2007. Let's go over here. So she's been in her Venus main period, started in October 1996, and it runs until October 2016. Is Venus favorable for this chart? No. It rules the 6th house, which is debts, disputes, mental tension, enemies, and false allegations, fire, theft, cheating, violence, accidents. So that's not a favorable main period. In 2007, the subperiod was Jupiter. See, Jupiter started at the end of December 2006 and it ran until 2009. Well, Jupiter rules this 8th house of death, death-like experiences, obstructions, delays, setbacks, transformations, vulnerability, and it's sitting up in the 12th house of foreign lands. So this brings some very serious issues, and it's ruled by a debilitated and afflicted Mars. Rahu is afflicting this Mars. So that's not good. Let's see, she got some freedom in October 2011. She was in a Saturn subperiod. See, that started in August 2009, ran until October 2012. Is Saturn favorable for this chart? Yes, it is. Saturn rules the 9th house of Dharma. It rules the 10th house of Karma. So it becomes a Dharma, Karma, Raj Yoga. It's a kingly planet. And it's in the house of relationships. It's a nice, strong, well-placed Saturn. But Rahu does aspect that, so we have to be a little bit careful. It aspects that house, so it kind of undermines the strength of Saturn and Moon. But it was a favorable planet, and she was released, and she got back to the United States. Now, she's in a Mercury subperiod, and Mercury for her is absolutely a favorable planet. But look at Rahu and Ketu. They are both afflicting Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. So this affliction of Rahu and Ketu causes its highs and lows. She actually thought that she was going to be found innocent this time, and she was found guilty. That's Rahu and Ketu, unexpected calamities. And if you add 5 degrees to Venus, you got 1541, and Mercury's 1507. So there is some Venus affliction to Mercury, and that rules the 6th house of false allegations. So I think she's in trouble. Yes, we all know she's in trouble. This is not going to be resolved in her favor right now. And in fact, at the end of next August 2015, she goes into Ketu, which is really going to be very hard on her mind, children, and her good fortune, and her friendships and income, and her own self. A lot of disappointments here. She could be emotionally really distraught during this time. But here's the good news for her. October 30th, 2016, she goes into 6 years of Sun. Is Sun favorable for this chart? It is absolutely favorable. It rules this fourth house of parents, property, and happiness. So she has some status through her parents. And this sun is at 22 degrees, and it is considered quite strong. Now it is, see, this is Sun in Gemini. See, Sun in Gemini, that's symbolized by the twins. That's duality, male, female, 2 and 1. But my main point here is that this Sun is not in a house that is afflicted, and Rahu and Ketu have no impact on Leo, ruled by the Sun. So this is considered to be a strong Sun. If we look over here in the Navamsh chart, we do see that it's in the 12th house. It is exalted, but it is afflicted by Ketu. So there's a possibility that she still has trouble. But I do think that that 6 years of Sun is much better for her than this 20 years of Venus. So I think there's a chance that at the end of October 2016, when she goes into 6 years of Sun, she's going to have wealth, status, and family life and happiness. So that's good news for her. So these are the main points for the chart for Amanda Knox. She should do the twofold planetary remedies for her chart for smoother sailing in life. Namaste.